Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games for the Game Pass collection. Well, not this time. We are bringing a Sidequest episode, but it may eventually come to Game Pass, hopefully. Lost my train of thought.
Perfect. Good start. Solid.
I am the warrior of this episode. Andrew, with me, the one who always asks you to run him through a dungeon and then doesn't really pay attention and just sits in the back and kind of eats snacks and then ends up getting killed by a random demon and then complains that he's dead and you have to run all the way back and revive him. Keith.
Hello.
And with us, returning, our special guest, Aaron, my brother.
Welcome. I would prefer to be referred to as the treasure goblin. That would be my preference. The guy that if you kill me, I just drop a bunch of crappy loot. But you know what? Fine. I'll just be Aaron, I guess.
That actually is a good point. I feel like I've gotten nothing good from a treasure goblin.
Only once. Only one. I've probably seen, I would say at this point, I've probably seen about 10. And I think only one has dropped a sacred legendary for me. I don't even think I used it, but at least was something.
But if you can't tell, this week we decided to play Diablo 4. Well, I say decided, but we've all played, like 50 hours in this game already, and it's like, man, how can we not do an episode on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tried and true classic for all three of us here. Yep. We all grew up on the series. This game is obviously taking over the world right now, so it's not like, oh, this came out of nowhere. It's obviously all over the place at this point. But all three of us, if you were to guess collectively, how many hours do you think we would have accumulated on Diablo 2 at this point?
Oh, Diablo 2?
Diablo 2.
Man.
Do you think 200 hours is out of the question?
No, I think it's very, very likely.
I think it's very likely too.
I feel like I probably spent 200 hours on it, like, I don't know, our summer vacation of whatever.
I call it the summer of Diablo. Me and Andrew used to have to take turns on the PC because we only had one PC that played Diablo, so we had to switch off and on it. I would go over
and that computer was literally never off.
No, it was on from the moment we woke up to the time when we went to bed, and probably even after that. I'm sure our parents went to bed and we were still playing Diablo at that point.
During that summer,
played Diablo when you guys went to bed.
Yeah. It was legitimately kind of like almost a 24-hour rotation because you generally wouldn't stay up, so you would be early, play Diablo. Come later in the afternoon when you're getting tired, I would take over and essentially play majority of the night, if not all the night. And then you would get up and you would get on and just rinse and repeat.
And I think I would pretty much just play with Aaron until he went to bed. And then I would continue playing with Andrew until I finally went to bed. Then I'd get up and probably start playing with Aaron again. So, yeah, probably just follow that cycle with you guys.
So here's the next question. Between all three of us here, how many copies of the Diablo series have we purchased at this point?
2.
I think I only bought one of Diablo 2. I think.
No, I bought 2.
This was back in the day. I think you could kind of get away with spoofing keys, and I might have gotten one for my brother because he was in the army. So that was back in like the torrent days where.
Yeah.
Gosh knows where I got that, but I think I did buy my own. I didn't buy Diablo 3 originally, actually. I used my roommates on Xbox, but did eventually buy it. So yeah, I think just once for all of it, although twice technically, I guess, for Diablo 4, but that's a whole nother story.
I bought 2 Diablo 2s. I bought one for PC. I then bought one much later on when I was in college because we thought we could all LAN it in our house. That didn't last very long. Everybody kind of gave up on it pretty quickly, except for me. I bought a PC just so I could play Diablo 3, and then I bought Diablo 3 when it came out on Xbox. So that's twice there, and then this one. I don't think we ever owned Diablo 1. I know I've played it.
No, we didn't. We definitely eagerly downloaded Diablo 1.
It was not as...
Because during that time, we were too young, and it was an M-rated game, and there was no way our parents would let us play it. So I remember, we illegally downloaded it and had to hide it.
Yeah. So
Did you
we have obviously
play it,
a ton of memories here. Yeah, it was fine. It's one dungeon.
Well, because I didn't really remember playing it, but it was interesting. I was recently watching someone who did a 10-minute breakdown of each one through 4, and they actually described the first one as a little bit more of like a survival RPG. So that's kind of interesting, and almost would be kind of a fun aspect to bring back in some ways. But yeah, I think it was more a product of the lack of technology at that point. But
because if I remember, so Tristram, the main town in Diablo 1 and 2 and 3, Tristram's still in Diablo 3, but not in this one.
Nah,
I don't
Tristram's
think it's much.
gone in 3.
But if I remember, it's like a giant tower, and you're going down the tower into hell. Is what it is. So it's essentially one dungeon.
Close.
But
it's not a tower. It's a church. You go into a church that goes down.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was a tower. And then I think there was a church. There's technically kind of 3 dungeons because then eventually hell opens up in Tristram, which is like a fiery split like chasm that you go into.
Yeah. All that to say, we have obviously a deep and rich history with this series of games. Would you say that this game... I'm sorry, Andrew, I'm taking your hosting duties here. So
yeah, I know.
Would you say
the audacity
that this is your favorite game series of all time?
No.
What is for you?
Mass Effect.
That's an okay answer. That's an okay answer. I wouldn't say it's a great answer. What about you, Keith?
See, I'm glad someone else comes onto this podcast and tells Andrew his answers aren't good. It's hard to say because you're putting me on the spot, and I don't want to say you kind of like back me in a corner with all the history we talk about with it, because now I feel like in so many ways, yes, because of my deep history with it.
That was the whole point. It's basically I tried to show us that we're all obsessed with it, and then I had to force you to have to say you don't like it the most.
And that's the thing is I'm trying to come up with another game or game series that I could, and like,
Civilization.
Yeah, maybe, but not like I wouldn't say that that's my
crazy,
favorite game. But I wouldn't call it that my favorite game over Diablo. I would rather play Diablo than I would rather play Civilization. And I love Civilization. I would rather play Diablo. And I love the Forza Horizon series, but like I set that in its own category because it's a racing game especially. So yeah, I guess I would say so. I think I would say yeah, I guess. You trapped me, Aaron. You got it.
I
would even though I don't play it
yes.
as much, I would still say StarCraft or Warcraft or World of Warcraft.
And for you, I think those answers make sense. And now Aaron's going to tell us it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series for him, obviously.
No, this is. I would agree that this. I wouldn't agree because you guys both did not say this, but I would say that this is my favorite series of games because it
more than Call of Duty.
I would say more than Call of Duty. I would think I'm more excited when a new Diablo game comes out than I am obviously when a Call of Duty comes out, and we're talking.
Well, that's kind of hard to compare.
It is hard to compare.
A Call of Duty comes out every year, and a Diablo doesn't.
All right, and there is a little bit of cloudiness here because Call of Duty has been down since Modern Warfare. It just has not been the same series that I've enjoyed because you guys don't play those games, but I'll play them, and I'll play them by myself every single night, and I generally have a good time, but I don't do that anymore. But Diablo, I think, even when it's not good, like there's an argument to be made that Diablo 3 was not a very good game at launch, I still loved it. Like, I still had a blast with that game and still think of that very fondly, even though how the game ended compared to how it started were two different products. And I just think overall, I think I spend the most amount of hours. If you go back cumulatively, this is probably, I don't know. I've spent some insane hours on Call of Duty, but still, I would say I enjoy this the most. This is the most fun.
But I feel like it's crazy because or one of the crazy things is if before I had looked at my time, I was like, yeah, I've easily put probably 20, 30 hours in this game, but I had double that. And it doesn't feel like that because time just erases when I play Diablo. And that's one of those things about it overall. But I think one of the reasons that I think I love it so much is when you look back really outside of Diablo 1, the whole series, they really figured it out in Diablo 2. And while the product has changed and tweaked and maybe not been its best at points, like you said at Diablo 3, it was still at its core Diablo 3. You still had everything that you wanted out of that game, just maybe not perfectly. So, yeah.
See, I wouldn't say Diablo is my favorite because I just generally do not like Activision Blizzard as a company so much that as much as I'm enjoying this game, I'm still nervous. So, like, I played the beta, with Diablo 4, I played the beta, I was like, this is a very fun game. But I think the company is just so gross. I'm just waiting for the ball drop of just how gross of monetization can happen. So I'm waiting for season 1 to happen. And, they keep saying, oh, everything's cosmetic, nothing's pay to win. But they've said that, with the Diablo mobile game and other instances. Like, they're not a good company. They're very greedy. So that's why I'm hoping Microsoft acquires them. I feel like Microsoft might do a better job and fix some of the corporate greed that goes on with them. But, you never know. But I don't know. And that's what scares me. Like, season 1, at the time of this recording, season 1 hasn't dropped yet. We're still just in the preseason, whatever you want to call it. And I like what's here. I like that the shop's just cosmetic. The cosmetics are crazy expensive. I don't know why anyone would spend money on them, but I'm sure there are some people. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, just the company itself. Because like when you're saying with Diablo 3, when Diablo 3 came out, it was gross, like the things they were doing with the shop and stuff like that. And yes, I agree with you. I still had fun with it, but it just lost its magic.
All right, we're gonna get a little bit deep into the weeds here. But do you remember why Diablo 3, when it launched, I wouldn't say that the decisions that were being made were gross. It was clearly a direct response to the economic issues of Diablo 2. So again, we're going to get deep into the weeds here. But in Diablo 2, there was a currency that was not gold. It was a specific ring, the Stone of Jordans, or SOJs. That is how you traded, was in this very rare ring. Nobody actually ever wore the ring. You used it as a trading currency. So when Diablo 3 came out, its way of trying to address that was, well, you can put items on a real-world auction house and you can personally make money from it. If anything, it wasn't greedy. It was actually allowing people to make the money. The problem, actually, wasn't that it was a greed issue. It wasn't gross. The problem was that loot dropped so little in the game that everybody just went to the shop to go purchase things because it just wasn't balanced right. And then they end up just getting rid of the thing completely because it was not working.
And that's why I would say it's corporate greed. Because if they did care, they would have just increased the drop rate. That's all you had to do. But they didn't want to do that. But no, not really. Because then it would oversaturate the market. And then people weren't making money. But even by the time the market closed, things were still like hundreds of dollars to buy these items.
So if you remember, because I remember this specifically as a problem. If I wanted an item, I went into the auction house and you could choose to sell it for real world dollars or for in-game gold. Which nobody did. I would always buy with in-game gold. And you know what the biggest problem with it was? All I had to do was look for the item that had the perfect roll. And I would purchase that one. So instead of when you play Diablo, you might get an item that's kind of good, but it doesn't have the perfect stats for you yet. So it's like, where I could just go in the store, be like, oh, that's the one, got it. And it was I almost did all of my loot grabbing very early on just by going through the store there or putting my stuff in the store. And it didn't work. And they eventually got rid of that actually fairly quickly. They got rid of that whole system fairly quickly because it clearly was not.
No,
working.
it was within 12 months. The market stayed there. No longer. It stayed until the expansion came out. That's when they got rid of it. I am 98% sure. Well, okay, technically, like a month or two before the expansion came out, it was a big patch that fixed a lot of things in anticipation to the expansion. I guarantee you. I do remember that.
I just don't remember using it for very long. Like, I remembered not using it after that, and I don't know why I wouldn't have if that was just the easiest way to get gear.
Yeah, no, because I always remember it's a very Blizzard thing.
Oh, wow.
They did it with World of Warcraft a lot too. Whenever an expansion was coming out, they always had a very big quality of life patch that would come about a month before the expansion to like anticipate and change some of the mechanics for the expansion that's coming out. So that's what they did. I remember they did that with Diablo by getting rid of the market.
Andrew is spot on. It was released in 2011 with the game. It wasn't until a year and a half after launch that Blizzard finally announced they would close it, and it finally came to a close on March 2014.
That's crazy. Yeah. I do not remember it going that long. I thought it was like 6 months, and everyone stopped using it. I just remember it wasn't like a thing people were using or even talking about. It was hot at the beginning, and then it just stopped.
Yeah, but we're like 15 minutes in. I don't think we've even talked Diablo 4 yet.
This is real deep Diablo talk. This is for true fans of Diablo.
I mean, Yeah.
Diablo.
But for the people who are just interested in the series, what a...
Is that
go ahead. Lead us into Diablo 3 talk, or Diablo 4 talk.
4. So people are wondering why Liz isn't here. I tried getting Liz into this game. She just did not care for it. I got her to like level 15 and she's like, meh. Which is weird. I feel like this game has everything she likes. I'm gonna keep playing with her. But the difficult thing I'm gonna say, so with Diablo, since me and Liz have 2 separate Xboxes, usually we can like share games in Game Pass. That's why we're able to kind of do things kind of on the cheap end. But when it comes to Diablo 4, each person physically has to own a copy. So Liz can play with me. We do couch co-op, but it's a lot more difficult for her to play video games when we're just doing couch co-op. So she'll be back. She just skipped this episode. But Diablo 4. The story of Diablo 4, you, of course, are playing one of the 5 classes. Barbarian, Rogue, Druid, Sorceress, and Necro. And you are kind of a lone stranger wandering the wilderness, get attacked by demons, and you end up getting wrapped up in this huge mystery of a new demon that has appeared on Sanctuary, the world that you're in. Her name is Lilith. She's the daughter of hatred, and she is essentially trying to get to hell and take her father's place as one of the prime evils. But, so, going around, before we begin, what class did everyone pick? I did a Barbarian. Absolutely loved the Barbarian. I feel like most people kind of are like, about the Barbarian. I know for me, because it's like the most generic class in almost any sort of action RPG. Like there's always some sort of fighty dude. And so I feel like a lot of people are turned off with the Barbarian, but I think the Barbarian's just a ton of fun. But what did you guys pick?
I definitely shied away from the Barbarian for that because I was just like, I don't know. I don't want to have the run and smack guy. Seems to be kind of boring sometimes. So I went with the Necromancer, but historically I loved the Necro in Diablo 2. So I was ready to get out there with my Black Parade and yeah. That's a My Chemical Romance for everyone. Just
yeah.
In case you
I think they get the
that.
reference, Keith. I think they get the
I don't know.
I think they get it.
It's not good when you have to explain the joke, Keith.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I went with the Rogue, mostly because in these types of games, typically like the heavy damage guys are typically either the Sorceress or the Rogue. I thought it seems like the Rogue. I don't know if this is true. I know Blizzard did release the numbers on what was the most popular character.
Sorceress.
Yeah, I know the Sorceress was, but I think the Rogue was pretty low on that list. And so I kind of wanted to just take the one that I thought was going to be lower on the popularity scale. So I went with the Rogue.
Because it fits your personality, you're just very unpopular.
Yeah, I just like to I like to feel like I can relate to my character, and if they're unpopular, it's just, that's how I feel inside. So it's perfect combo for me.
I can see that. Same for me. So as I
say with the story with the Diablo 4, very basic. There's a big bad demon trying to destroy or try to get more powerful in the world, and you're trying to stop her. What did you guys think of the story of Diablo 4? So, as Aaron has already put it, all of us have a long history of Diablo. And so I understand quite a bit of the references in what's kind of going on in the world of Diablo 4. But I'm not going to lie, I think the story of the overall and the lore of Diablo is getting all over the place. I will admit I am not someone who is 100% reading all the text and dialogue and all that stuff. But from what I've played of all the Diablos, I feel like the story is just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, this one, if you go back to other Diablos, all the Diablos are kind of the same concept. It's kind of the same concept. Demon or Satan shows up. You have to fight back and eventually go into hell, or at least in Diablo 3, into heaven. And
yeah, which is weird.
Ultimately kill off Diablo. Well, ultimately, that's it. You're going after Satan. This one was different. I will give them that. It at least plays out, but it gets really complicated at certain points. And I would say the ending is really muddy. Like, really muddy. So I was like, wait, what is happening? Why is she getting into a portal with him? What was that? What just happened? And then the ending, it's clearly setting up. They already said I think they planned on 2 expansions for this game. So clearly it sets up where those expansions are going to go. But I was like, what just happened? I don't understand what that was. So yes, different and longer, way longer than any other Diablo game's been in the past. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it, like, wow, that was really incredible. I can't believe it did that. I know that it tries to set up some complicated, how do I need to feel about this guy? Is that person really bad or are they actually good? It tries that type of stuff, but at the end of it, I don't even think it matters.
I mean, we always joke about me in the story, right? But I don't know. In an ARPG like Diablo, and I think especially Diablo, I've always known, evil demon go dead. I get loot. That's like, it's Halo for me in that sense. Spaceman go
kill
shoot.
demon, they explode like a pinata.
Exactly, and that's all I ever focus on in it. And I think it's because ultimately this game has such a detail to the loot and the importance of all of that detail. I'm like, I will graze past the story and I'll catch a little bit here and there. I watched all of the cutscenes in Diablo 4 because, well, we'll get to that. But I don't really know the story of most Diablos, despite the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours that I have dedicated my life to them.
Yeah, like I don't remember much of the story of Diablo 1. I remember a lot of Diablo 2. I thought Diablo 2's story was actually really cool, including the expansion. Diablo 3, I remember a good chunk of it. And then with Diablo 4, it's like kind of like, I understand what's going on. Just like a lot of the nuanced stuff is just like what's irritating me. Because I specifically remember in Diablo 2, like the whole purpose is you're killing the demons and you're getting their soul stone. That is the thing that possesses their soul. And at the end, you go into hell and there's this big anvil that specifically only this anvil can destroy the soul stones, destroying the demons forever. But of course in 3, they're like, well, they can't be destroyed forever or we can't have a game. Yeah. So I don't know how they come back, but they come back. And then it's going on with this one and the 4th one where they're like, yeah, we need to trap this person in a soul stone. But it's like, well, what's the point? And what's the point of killing them? Because you killed all the demons in the second one, but you're in hell and they're kind of there. So it's like, is anyone dying? Like even at the end, I mean, you fight the big bad demon and it's just like, well, are they dead? Like, because even then you're killing a demon on the world. I can't remember his actual name. I just remember him called the Duke of Char. You kill him, but then he's in hell. So it's just like, am I even killing people or are they just moving around? Like what's going on? Like, I don't get it. I don't know. So stuff like that is just like what irritates me.
I just know the main ones have better loot. So that's what I pay attention.
But I will say, I was hoping Liz could be on this because, so obviously we know a lot of kind of past stories and stuff like that. Do you think the story is confusing for newcomers?
Yes. 100%.
I mean, especially if you're coming straight into Diablo 4.
Yeah. And that I agree too. Like, I do kind of wish this game lacked a little bit of like a prequel video. Because even too, by the end, who is your character? In the 3rd one, the whole purpose of your character, you find out you're the Nephilim. You're essentially a crossbreed between a demon and an angel, so you're kind of a superhuman. In this one, it's like, are you just like a random Joe Schmo that just ate a demon's blood petals? I know that was a weird phrase, but it's legitimately what happened.
Basically, yeah, that's kind of it. Because your kind of one hidden trait is that you can kind of see things that Lilith is doing because you ate the blood petals. I will say, though, I mean, just as a caveat, if you're somebody that has never played a Diablo game, I mean, you've already heard us talk way too much about other Diablo games, but if you've gotten to this point, you're like, oh, crap, the story's going to suck, well, I'm not going to go watch it, or I won't understand it. As Keith has pointed out, I don't think you need to know the story. You could absolutely pick up this game and have just as much fun as we're having with it, without knowing what happened in Diablo 3, what happened in Diablo 2. You don't need to know that. In fact, I don't even know if these games, even though you're right, Andrew, that you kind of do need to play Diablo 2 and 3 to understand what's happening in Diablo 4. They're not actually all that connected, though. That's the weird part. But the mechanics of what's happening, like you said, soul stones, you'd have no clue what's kind of happening with a soul stone if you haven't played previous games before. But that type of stuff is weird mechanics that are happening in the story that you wouldn't completely understand.
Yeah, especially because if you look at it and you're like, oh, demons, all that, maybe this is like some sort of like Christian Catholic base. It's like demons and angels. That's about the closest it comes to like any actual religion. I mean, names and stuff are used, but it's like I always used to think about that. I'm like, and I would like try to piece it in because we grew up in church and all of this, and so I was like, wait, none of this is anything I ever learned, and I obviously learned that it was not connected in that way. So if you're coming new to this and you have this like picture of it, well, it's not that. It is not.
Yeah, so that's why I would say like you don't need to play the other Diablos to know what's going on. It'll help. There's definitely a lot of lore and stuff that are going on that you're probably like, what the heck's going on? But as far as a newcomer, all you need to know is, yeah, there's angels, there's demons. They hate each other. There's a big bad demon who wants to do bigger, badder things. So you're trying to stop her. That's essentially all you really kind of need to know. Mm-hmm. But there's, as far as understanding like who the Haradrim are, what's going on with soul stones, what is sanctuary, what's the eternal conflict? Like these are things that it's like, yeah, if you played the previous games, like you kind of understand what's going on. But I will say, I don't think you need to know.
Would it make
you just
a good TV show?
Bad guy, I need to kill him. No,
like actually, Game of Thrones style, you have like it would be like a party of like five of
not
each.
Game of Thrones. No.
Well, I'm just saying like Game of Thrones in terms of like big fantasy fires and beasts and things like that.
If they did a TV show, absolutely, I think it would be good. But I don't know if you guys have seen Castlevania on Netflix.
I love it. That's exactly what I thought.
It is so good.
I said
this would be
style
great
of Castlevania. I bet this would be good if it was in that same style. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen Castlevania on Netflix, it is so good. Yeah. That was such a good show. But yeah, if they went like an anime style, yeah, I think they could do a really good Diablo show.
I could see that.
I would not go live action with this. I think it would look cheesy if it went live action.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It just would work.
Because not only that, it would be too expensive.
True.
Because like if you're like that's always the issue, especially with like The Last of Us just came out. Like I played The Last of Us recently, and yeah, the game like there's a ton of clickers. So I saw the show before I played the game, and I was like, oh, clickers aren't that much of a thing in the game. No, the show just didn't want to pay for them because it was really expensive. And so that's the thing when you're dealing with some sort of creature or costumes, like people don't want to pay for that money. True. So yeah, just make it animated, and it'd be really good.
That's fair. Yeah. I'd take that.
Yeah. But, so yeah, as we said overall with the gameplay, you're starting off as a character level 1, max level is 100, and you are essentially just going through all the acts, following the story, fighting demons, getting loot, getting stronger so you can fight harder demons with bigger baddies to get better loot, and rinse and repeat. So anyone who has not played a Diablo game, as some people have been kind of complaining about with online, I mean, heck, I'll even complain about it a little bit. Diablo at its base core is just a grind. It is, but it's a fun grind. You're going in, you're getting stronger skills, you're getting better abilities, you're fighting bigger, stronger demons that have other skills that you need to try to kind of counter. You need to avoid their animations so you don't take damage. And it's just rinse and repeat. Get stronger to get better loot. How well do you think it worked in... So we've talked about, obviously, since we played a lot of Diablo. So as this game came out, how do you think the loot is in Diablo 4? How'd they do?
I've thought it's been great, and the biggest reason is there's just so many opportunities for it. There, now that they've introduced this, always online MMO aspect to it, where you have world events and world bosses and Legion events and Hell Tides and PvP, and just there's so many ways that I can collect loot that I'm like, I don't want to say overwhelmed because I'm so excited to just do all of them, but I don't know. I want to do it all.
Yeah. Now, your question is specific to loot. Do you mean...
I should say, how's the grind?
Okay.
How about
the gameplay loop, at this point, this is the best version of a quote-unquote endgame of any Diablo game. Now, if I log on right now, there might be an event an Legion event I can go play. There might be a world boss that's available for me to go fight. There might be Hell Tides that I can go and handle. There's also Grim Favors that I can go and handle. There's also Nightmare dungeons. There's also Capstone dungeons. That alone is a wild variety of things to do. Now, ultimately, are you kind of doing the same things in those things? Yeah. In a lot of ways. There's some mix-ups there, but if you go back in time to any of the other previous Diablo games, your end game, quote unquote, was typically one thing kind of on repeat. It didn't really vary it up. It didn't really switch it up. This, I would say, is in a much better state right now. With my expectation is as this grows, we will probably see more things come along with it in future seasons as well. But even for as it is right now, the product that you buy today, I would say that once you get to level 50 is typically when you're probably wrapping up the game, somewhere around there, and you're getting into your Paragon levels and you're doing kind of the end game stuff. I think it's a blast. I love it.
So I'm currently a 67, I believe. And yeah, like what you said, it's the gameplay loop is very kind of the same thing. You're essentially kind of doing the same thing. You know, going through a dungeon, finding demons, get to the end, get some loot. Obviously, there's like kind of different variations with it. So I know there's been articles of people complaining of like the repetition of it. And I remember saying it a little bit to you where I'm like, yeah, even I'm kind of like, all right, like I'm getting a little bit tired of the repetition a bit as much. But I remember you brought up, Aaron, of, you know, previous Diablos.
Yeah. Go back to Diablo 2. We would run Bale runs, Mephisto runs, and then Cow levels. And that was it. That was kind of it. You ran those 3, and that's all you did, was basically repeating levels that you already did. I think it was basically the same thing in Diablo 3, but you changed your world tiers. So you would basically...
No, Diablo 3 eventually came out with like those the dungeons where you would like put in a token and it would alternate the dungeon, which they have now.
Yes.
They're nightmare dungeons in this game. But yeah, they would essentially add like a different element. Like something would be exploding, enemies shoot lasers, like something weird.
But they would have a ton of world tiers, and that was kind of what you were doing a lot of. And you still do that in this, although you can only go up to world tier 4 right now. And it has a little bit different way of how you get into those world tiers, but yeah, that is the core of Diablo. If your complaint is this is a little grindy, well, yeah, that is the game. Like that is the core of the game, and you don't get it. If you don't like that, you just don't get Diablo.
Which I agree with you, but I'm also going to be and play the devil's advocate here. Like that reference?
The Diablo's advocate, yeah.
The Diablo's advocate here. I do agree. I think it is very grindy. Like for me, at this point, it probably takes hour and a half to 2 hours, I feel like, to level up. Like, yeah, I'm getting some points. There's like kind of like these weird checkpoints within your level, like as you're leveling up, where you get essentially a Paragon point, which is kind of like a skill point. But to actually level up, I feel like it takes about like an hour and a half to 2 hours. And it's like, that's quite a bit of time. Like I said, the final level is level 100 for your character. So yes, I understand Diablo's always been very grindy, but at this point, you know, it's 2023. Back in the day when we played Diablo 2, there wasn't that many games. So for me, it was like, oh yeah, it's fine to grind because I'm not playing anything else. But here in 2023, like there's so many other games I want to play and so many other games that are biting for my attention that this is what kind of is turning me off a little bit with Diablo at this point, where I'm just like, yeah, I'm just grinding levels, but I kind of want to play something else now. Like I just don't have the attention span like I do back then when you only had Diablo to play.
You're getting weak. You are getting weak.
Sorry, I do this podcast. I got to play other games.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't do a gaming podcast, so I don't have to worry about that. But I will say, like, I want to go back to a previous comment that you made, though, and where you were like, I just don't like Blizzard. I don't like Activision Blizzard. And I think the criticisms are fair. But if you look at the current slate of Activision and Blizzard games right now, the one that is in the absolute far and away best state right now is Diablo. Overwatch is a complete disaster. Call of Duty is a complete disaster. They're just none of that stuff is working
franchises
right now.
Disasters.
Yes, they're everything's bad there. So this has got to be the most complete launch of a video game we have seen in 5-6 years. Like,
I'd say longer. I fully
longer.
agree with that, though.
Maybe longer. And so
in modern gaming, honestly,
I have way more hope for this game than maybe you do right now, and why I think that your concerns right now, I am way more hopeful that those concerns start to get a little bit more solved and interesting as seasons go on. They don't have to fix a whole lot. So moving forward, I don't have 20 things that I'm like, these guys need to fix before they can even give me new content. Like, they got to fix all these things. Now it's like, yeah, Now they're ready to go. We haven't seen anything like this before. So I'm way more hopeful that as these seasons start to roll out, we're going to see way more content, way more stuff coming out that opens up what you're doing in this game. I'm naive, but we just haven't seen a successful launch like this of a game. And like you said, it may be in modern gaming at this point. So it's got me thinking, oh yeah, then I'm ready to see what's coming, because already you can see the attention to detail. When they were thinking of Endgame, they knew, well, we can't just do one thing over and over again. We have to bring more things into here. We have to bring more things into the mix. And to me, it mostly works. For the core of what Diablo is, it mostly works.
Well, my concern, though, of the future, which I agree with, like, yes, this is a great game right now. It's very complete. My concern, seasons are about to start soon, is this game's going to end up being like Destiny. Like, I loved Destiny, played a bunch of it, but as soon as expansions started to come out, the expansions were very expensive, and that's what I'm afraid. I'm afraid the expansions are going to be like $50 a pop. Like, it's going to be almost the price of a full game. And I'm afraid if I don't keep up with Diablo and keep doing these seasons, if I try to jump back in, I'm just going to be so lost and confused. Because, like, that was my issue with Destiny. I love Destiny, played a bunch of it, but then after I beat the main game and there wasn't an expansion, I kind of stopped. They had some in-between stuff going on, and now, like, at one point at Game Pass, they had, like, Destiny with, like, all the expansions. And I tried playing it, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Where am I supposed to go? What is going on in the story? Like, I was just so lost. And I'm kind of afraid that might happen with this.
I can only tell you from my example. I obviously stopped playing Diablo 3 for a really long time. And right when Diablo 4 was announced and it was coming out, I had played 2, maybe 3 seasons of Diablo 3, just kind of going back into it. There were a bunch of new elements to it, but it was not hard to figure out. It was very easy to jump back in and get into it because you understand Diablo.
Yeah.
As far as I get, like, well, I play Destiny. Yeah, but Diablo is something you've been playing for decades at this point. And I think you will probably more likely understand Diablo than you would Destiny at this point. I do agree with you, though. I did try Destiny as well, and holy smokes, it was a mess. I just did not know what was going on.
Crap, I was going to say something. I don't know.
I mean, well, you did there. Okay, move it on.
Yeah, what can you say when already the most perfect thing was just said right before you?
Well, I mean, at one point you basically repeated what I said, so there was that. But that was, minor details. But I really the 2 biggest complaints that you'll hear or read or see about Diablo is that it's too much of a grind, or it's people or complaining about the people complaining that it's too much of a grind. Like, I haven't really heard a single complaint about the gameplay, the loot drops, the elements of it, bugs, glitches, nothing. Maybe I just haven't gone far enough to look for them. I don't know, but
I've heard good amount of complaints about network issues.
Well, okay, yeah, because I know there was, I don't remember what the guy's name is, but the one who was like the first guy to hit 100 and the server dropped. But honestly, I think there was one time I tried to sign in that it just, after like 5 tries, it just wouldn't let me sign in, so I gave up, and I don't know, a couple hours later I tried and I was fine. But I've never been kicked out outside of either my own network or, again, I think I have had a small handful of, like, my character got frozen and I had to just quit out and restart the game. But I don't know, I've had no bad experience with my gameplay. So yeah, I think it's that alone says what a complete game it is. And the fact that, I don't know, the server issues, yes, you mentioned, but how many games, and it's kind of just padding on to the perfect release of a game, how many games have actually had 0 legitimate major server issues on day one, especially of this capacity? A game that comes out once every 10 years and people are flocking to it in huge numbers and
Sea of Thieves.
Stable. Yeah,
Sea of Thieves was stable.
Yeah, but it didn't. Sea of Thieves did not have the numbers that Diablo had, I'm sure.
Wait, that's not true. Didn't Sea of Thieves have wait times at the beginning?
I don't think so.
I think there was in the beta.
I vaguely remember there being server issues very early on.
I want to say that was in the beta, though. But it's been so many.
You never played the game,
years.
Aaron. You got burnt out from the beta.
I got burnt out from the beta.
You're burnt out. You are still burnt out to this day.
In fairness, Sea of Thieves had like 3 things to do when the game launched, and you did them all in the beta. So I legitimately had nothing to do when the game launched.
Oh, so here you are defending Diablo, where there's like 3 things to do, grind at the end of the game, but Sea of Thieves had 3 things to do, and you're like, no.
Did I say 3 things? I'm pretty sure I labeled off like 7, and I forgot the Fields of Hatred. So I even forgot one. So make that 8. So nice try.
And Sea of Thieves, though, is the perfect example of what a game can do when it's somewhat bare bones to start, a little bit grindy, and now there's like, I don't want to say too much to do, but you can't not do something when you're doing things in Sea of Thieves. There's always just something popping.
Wow. What a quote. Holy smokes, quote that.
Put it on a t-shirt. But there's always, like, you're just traveling to go to this island, but 10 other things are popping up. Like, you've traveled this many miles, you've shot this many bananas, you've done this many things, and there's just always something that you're accumulating, even if you're not trying to. That's the sharper way of what I was trying to say.
You can't not do things when you're doing things in Sea of Thieves. Keith Lynch.
Yeah, that's a good Keith quote. I like that. So I wanted to ask you guys, so the big change, you mentioned a little bit earlier, Aaron, the big change with Diablo 4 compared to the other Diablos is this one's a bit more of like kind of an MMO style. It's more open world. You know, it's an always online game. You're just traveling. Usually when you're going from point A to point B, you kind of see other random players going around. How do you think this change worked for Diablo?
To me, I can't think of a negative drawback to it at this point. I
can.
Okay. I would say when you think about it, right? If you go back to Diablo 2, so that's our heyday, it is a little odd that you just kind of walk out of town and you literally don't run into another living person outside of basically just hordes of demons. To me, this has been a little bit fun to kind of run and just see people. It just feels a little bit more lived in. Well, so what's your drawback to it?
Hold on real quick. Diablo 3 introduced it a little bit, right? With like the hub towns. But you didn't see them in the world, right?
I don't think so.
I could have sworn you saw them in
I know. The way I could have
cities.
swore you saw people too.
Because I thought that was how you would trade. You could like trade and stuff. But yeah,
or did it just have like a quick match?
Maybe. Other than that, though, I am interested in Aaron's question, or the answer to Aaron's question. So please do tell us, what is the drawback to it? Because I can't think of one.
So my biggest drawback is this is generally, I think, a big drawback when it comes to generally any open world game. So it's kind of the same thing that happened with Halo Infinite. You know, with an open world, you know, it's generally kind of fun. Like, hey, I get to go wherever I want. But what the big negative when it comes to open worlds are lack of epic set pieces. All of these planes, in my mind, look exactly the same. If I'm going to, it's just snowy, desert, swampy, and that's it. But like when I think about previous Diablos, like the Battle of Mount Arreat, you're going through and there's catapults going and fires everywhere, and you're fighting demons, and there's barbarians like random NPCs with you. You know, going through Zoltan Kuhl, you're kind of in like a mystical portal land that's like in space.
All right.
Like you had these really awesome epic set pieces, and here all of them are the same.
We're saying 2 different things here, because I think what you were saying is, what do you think of the open world? When you say MMO, I think of having a bunch of lived-in people in there. Fine, yeah. I'll give it to you if you want to argue, because the map is massive, and is the map full of a lot of filler? Absolutely, 100%. Is there a lot of things we haven't seen? No. There's a ton of stuff we've seen 1,000 times in Diablo games here. It's all very familiar, and so fine, I'll give you that. I'll give you map design is probably larger than it needs to be, and yes, it being wide open maybe changes the element. But I don't think having a bunch of players in the map hurts it.
No, that's what I thought. I thought you were saying,
and that's what I was arguing about. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say having a bunch of players hurts it. It's I think just from the design of it, they're trying to make these maps open and interesting, because like you can't have those epic set pieces of you battling through these, you know, events going on like you did with like Mount Arreat. Like you can't do that when you're having an open world with a bunch of people going around. Like that's always what happens with a MMO open world free to play, or not free to play, but open world like MMO type of style of game. You can't create a linear narrative of like an epic like battle going on. So I think having the overall players is fine. Like, it is kind of nice battling something and someone who's way stronger than me just instantly kills this demon that I'm working on, or like doing boss fights. Or see, for me, like the world events and boss fights are very forgettable. They're so generic and kind of rinse and repeat. Like almost every world event is essentially like stand in a circle, fight a couple waves of demons. There's your treasure. The world boss fights are big old massive boss. Just don't stand in the animations and you're good. So like they're just kind of okay. And I would like more of a epic experience.
You were talking like you hate just Diablo series, because that's what you sound like right now. It sounds like as you've gotten older, you just don't like the Diablo series, because what you're complaining about
it's just become like an old curmudgeon.
It's core Diablo. I will argue against you though on this, and I admit coming into this I was a little iffy on the open world design, but now I'm playing it, I'm like, okay, no, this is better. I don't know why after 3 series of Diablo you want to go to more just standard acts on one map and then having to load out to go to another act to do. Why would you want to do that again? If anything, we'd be arguing, why are we 4 games into this with the same design? If anything, I feel like this is an actual proper evolution that, to me, mostly works. Because I think how we've played Diablo for years, too, right? We would team up, and typically one person was way overpowered than the others, and he would run everybody through the level. That's how we played it. In this setup, you can be any level, and it all works in the background. You can just go through the game as if nothing's happening. I think that's better. I think that this system is actually a very good evolution and the right step.
Yeah, it is 100% that, because now you have a game where you're 6 months in and you finally get your friend to buy it after his wife gave him permission, and you want to hop on and play with him, but basically all you're doing is going, yep, all right, let's just get you into the end game. And you kind of still are, because the end game is the result. But like you said, Aaron, is because it adjusts for the levels, and I think to a certain degrees, I think there's caps where you still end up being a little bit over leveled. But outside of that, it does this adjustment where, yeah, me at 27 and you at level 10, we're fighting the same level monsters for ourselves, and we're getting our loot separately, and it's seamless and it works. And by golly, if there is another game that is more seamless with its drop in and drop out for multiplayer, I have never played it, because it impresses me almost every time still. Like, Andrew invites me or I invite him, and then you're just there. It's, you didn't move, your game doesn't load, nothing changed in any way, but you're in their game somehow. And it's like, okay, cool. It's an awesome thing. I just love it. And I think, like you said, Aaron, the proper evolution of gameplay and technology.
Well, so I want to apologize. I don't hate Diablo 4. I absolutely love it.
No, you
should apologize.
I'm sorry if I sound like
I'm jumping on the air.
I'm just playing the Diablo's advocate here, okay? See, and like this is just kind of like my own small complaint.
You're being Diablo's advocate. You'd be the one trying to defend it.
Yeah, that is a good point.
A backwards phrase. I'm just saying, I just feel like I played through this entire game, and like there wasn't too many moments where I'm like, oh, that was a cool moment, that was a cool set piece, because like it's just, I don't know. That was also my complaint with Halo Infinite. Like playing through that, like overall it's a very fun game. I just felt like it missed those set pieces, and I love those set pieces.
Well, so here's where I'm going to disagree with you. And I'm gonna at least dip my toe into something I hinted at earlier. It's the cutscenes of this game. There are some that are kind of cutscene-ish, where it's still in game, but it's a little bit better detailed and things kind of move. But then you have the actual cutscenes, like the intro to the game, and like these big moments. Those are gorgeous, and they're just these awesome, I don't know, just little clips that show you the game, and I don't know. I love the cutscenes and the graphics, and that's kind of, I don't know, I guess it's still animated, but sort of what I was thinking when I was thinking of like, hey, this could be a TV show.
Oh, Blizzard's always done a phenomenal job with cutscenes.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like for me, in the sense of, and I guess you only have really kind of do it once unless you decide to play the campaign every character you roll, is that you that makes up for the epic set pieces that I lose in the gameplay of the demons fighting in the background and yada yada yada. Like those were cool moments. I'm not going to disagree with you, but it doesn't. I don't care.
Yeah, like Blizzard has always just done a phenomenal job with like cutscenes. Some of the cutscenes too, when you think about it, some of them they have in there, it's kind of like that was really a pointless cutscene. Like somebody opening a door, or like walking through a field. It's literally like a 5-second cutscene. But man, it's still just gorgeous. But I will say, like when they do an action cutscene, like I always love Blizzard's action cutscenes, and the one in this one, especially when you get near the end of like the battle in hell, so good, so awesome,
very good.
Yeah, like it would be great to have a TV show, but I feel like if they try to do it like computer animated like this, it would just be way too expensive and take way too much time. That's why I feel like they should just do an anime style like Castlevania. But yeah, overall though, the graphics are pretty big change from 3 to 4. I remember when 3 came out, everyone kind of made fun of it, saying, oh, it's super cartoony looking and kind of goofy, because 2 was very gritty, and then 3 was like, much more brighter, easier to kind of see things. So people were like, oh, this just looks like kind of like a children's cartoon, which they made a joke about later on with the secret level. They made a secret cow level kind of, but it was like a cartoon world.
Yeah, it was like a unicorn level.
Yeah, but so in this one they went once again back to being gritty, and I love that they went back to a grittier style. I know it turned Liz off when she saw that. She's like, this game just looks gross, but I don't know. When you're playing a game called Diablo, I feel like it's gonna be a little gross, probably.
Maybe, but I think the biggest thing and what I think contributes to it is really it's a product of its time. Like Diablo 2, when did that come out? 99, I think. 97, something like that.
Probably.
It was like late 90s.
Yeah, I think it was 98.
You didn't have bright graphics outside of like cartoon graphics. You didn't have bright, sort of realistic-esque as they could be in those graphics at that time. Then Diablo 3 came out. It was a PC game, but then when it came out to consoles, it came out on, not now next gen, but it came out on Xbox One, correct? So it was coming out on the current gen, coming out with HDR and all those things, like bright and colorful, and that was what you did with the technology at that time. So I get the criticism of it, but I think it was just like, hey, we have the ability to do this. That's what we're supposed to do. We're going to do that. Because I still think it looked very, everything was demonic. It was all the things it was supposed to be. But I was watching a video comparison, and like I think it was the fire dragons that the sorcerers always have. I was like, wow, those do look like...
Yeah, the hydras.
Yeah, they look like cartoon snakes, and they were like bright orange. So yeah, I can see the brightness, but at the same time, I never thought it was silly. I just thought it was... I don't know. It didn't change anything for me.
If you ever want to see like a funny graphical comparison, the one that sticks out to me the most is look at the character selection page between Diablo 4 and to Diablo 3. It's not even just that it's like brighter and almost cartoonier. The level of detail between these two games is crazy. When you see your character selection page, like even just looking at the fabric, looking at the armor, and then you look and it's like basically just flat. Like everything looks flat on Diablo 3, and I was like, you don't realize it at the time. Because I don't remember criticizing graphically what Diablo 3 looked like. I mean, obviously Diablo 4 looks great. And it's crazy because it runs good on just about everything too. When we go back to like a perfect launch, it just runs great on everything. So it's crazy that it looks as good as it does and it runs as good as it does as well.
Yeah. And then another thing I feel like they actually did a really good job with is the audio. So I generally feel like, Blizzard's always done a really good job with the Diablo audio. They usually, like when you're in town, usually has some really kind of melancholic music, really kind of just depressing, but also just very moody. But I remember you were the first one to point it out in a text of, you played this with a headset and you were like, the music's fantastic. And I didn't realize it until I started focusing on it. I was like, man, this is really good.
Yeah, the score in this, I don't typically notice scores in games. There's only a few that will get me. Battlefield 1 is one of them that gets me. But this is one that, I'll catch the score in some, especially in some of the capital cities. And it's like, man, this is so good. But even just the sounds of demons, some of the sounds of I was hacking up some zombies or something like that. And the sounds they were making as they were dying, especially with a headset on, I was like, oh man, that is juicy. And I was like, that is some good audio right there. I did not realize this. Diablo 3 won a bunch of awards for their audio design in Diablo 3. So for all of Diablo 3's faults, apparently it was highly regarded for its audio. And I didn't realize that. And Diablo 4 is I think right in line with that.
Yeah, I think there's something that it's almost like a Pavlovian response is like the rhythmic, just going back even to Diablo 2, the rhythmic sounds of your attacks, and like you almost know how, without looking at mana or whatever resource you have, like you just know how to attack because you can hear it and you can time it. It's just, I don't know, there's something that's special about Diablo in that aspect too. And this game captures it just as perfectly as any other one does. And
if you're interested, there actually is a official Diablo 4 original soundtrack on Spotify. So if you want to listen to all the soundtrack, it actually is there. And it actually looks like they have all the Diablos.
Interesting.
Diablo 2. Oh, I think that's made by a random person though. But there's at least an official Diablo 4 soundtrack, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I think they did a great job with the audio, especially once again with the cutscenes. But yeah, what about the achievements? What do you guys think of the achievements for Diablo 4?
I mean, I think they're pretty basic. It's just kind of like do the things with all the characters, beat the game. There's a couple like difficult ones, like with hardcore mode and stuff, but they're actually all very attainable.
One for hardcore, you just got to get to level 50 with hardcore, that's tough, but
yeah, tough, but at least somewhat attainable. I would guess if you have put enough hours into the game and you know what you're doing. But yeah, I think largely that, I don't know, they're a time sink for sure. It's not an achievement hunter's game, but they're all very attainable achievements.
Yeah, a bunch of there's a handful of the achievements that are very class specific. So I guess if you were trying to 100% this thing, obviously the hardcore stuff would be the most challenging part of it, but you would have to be going back and starting new characters. I think really to get through a lot of those.
Yeah, I'll do over the class specific ones aren't bad though. Yeah,
no, they're easy. But if that's what you wanted to do, you would be restarting over as new characters once you kind of complete one of those characters. So it's not. I'm not super worried about it because at least my plan is each season I'll just go start a new character and I will go start, as something I haven't played yet. So my thought is I'll probably get through most of those. There's no way I'm touching the hardcore ones. There's just no way.
Yeah, I don't know. I may at some point in my Diablo career. I don't know. I don't know that I would ever sink too much time into it because I think I would get to like a level 38 and then I would die, and I don't know. I think I might just cry. But yeah, I doubt it works in hardcore. And I don't know if you're listening to this, you probably know, I guess. But I think one of the coolest things that we kind of breezed over on gameplay is the addition of the fact that once you beat the campaign, you can just skip the campaign with any character that you want and create at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a huge, it's a huge comeback for the game and such a good addition. And it just adds on to the list of things that I go to. Like they improved and they have just made Diablo better in every way, I think, in Diablo 4.
Yeah, which is a nice feature because honestly, I think this is the longest campaign.
Oh, easily. I mean, it's six chapters as it stands, and I don't think there's a single game that's 6 chapters with expansions.
I think four was normally where they ended.
Yep, and then you'd have a fifth for an expansion.
Then the expansion was the 5th.
Yeah.
So yeah, 6 in itself, and I mean, you could stretch it that I think 2 of them are kind of probably an hour or less to play, but nonetheless, they're if you don't go through them directly, you could conceivably put 35 hours into the game just before you beat the campaign.
But anyway, I think we've talked enough Diablo 4 here. Let's get into our final thoughts. I apologize if it did sound negative. I was just, like I said, being the devil's advocate here. There's just some things that I'm just kind of like, at this, I'm probably like 80 hours of gameplay in now. I'm kind of like, okay. Like some of these things I'm more seeing that I'm like, this is kind of annoying me a little bit. But all that to say, like I said, I think I'm like 80 hours, but if you told me, I would have thought I put 5 hours in this game. I have played a ton of this game. We never got in the fun, interesting story of how Keith originally made me lose Diablo 4.
I mean, the same way. I don't know if we should talk about that on the podcast. Not that anyone of importance. Well, that's not. Nope. I don't want to say anyone of importance. You're all important. Every one of you is important. I don't think anyone who would get us in trouble listens to this. But I don't think we. But about that.
I guess I could have gone back to Aaron's question of how many times I've bought a Diablo game, and
I made
so
that
technically,
joke.
I guess about Diablo 4 twice.
I made that joke. You guys have either of you listened to a word I've said on this podcast? You have both repeated my words, taken my jokes. I hate you both.
No, I generally don't listen to you, Keith.
I don't blame you. I don't listen to most of what I say.
But yeah, anyway, like I said, Diablo 4, though, is just a very, 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 very fun time. If you are playing on a console, it's couch co-op. It's very easy to do. You know, whoever just owns the game just signs in the console, and you'll still need another person with an Xbox Live account, but they literally just press start in a controller and create a character, and it works so well. Like, we didn't mention enough of actually how great the couch co-op is in this game. I think overall this game works so well with the controller. Like, obviously we played a bunch with a mouse and keyboard, but I prefer generally just kind of playing on a controller now. I think it just works so well. But yeah, Diablo is it's a ton of fun. The story itself, you know, it's not going to be groundbreaking, you know, especially if you haven't played in the Diablo games. Like I said, it's very kind of a generic story, but the gameplay and the gameplay loop is just so addictive. It is a constant drip feed of getting stronger, getting better loot. And when you see that epic loot drop, the feeling of just euphoria of, oh, what's this new thing? It's so shiny. I'm going to get stronger. This gameplay loop is just addictive. It's a very addictive game. But, you know, like I said, of my few complaints that I have, the open world, I miss kind of the epic set pieces of the game. But this game is easily still a 95 for me. I have a ton of fun with Diablo.
So don't listen to a word Andrew says. He's a liar. He hates it. All he's going to do is complain about it when he gets off this episode. But I
uninstalling the game right now as I speak.
The funny thing is Andrew actually has not played a minute of Diablo. He just watched a ton of videos and
just YouTube.
And he's just complaining about it. But
Can someone buy me the game, please?
But unlike Andrew, I love Diablo 4. I love everything about it. It's just so much fun. As Andrew restated from my prior statement, that, you know, you could have told me I put half as much time into this game as I did, and I wouldn't have believed it until I saw it with my own two eyes, because it's so easy to burn hours into this game. And Andrew will probably light me up for this one, but it's sort of, Diablo is what built my love for roguelikes, that just rinse and repeat of run a dungeon, incrementally increase and upgrade my stats, and then do it all over again and infinitely repeat until I'm, I guess, bored with the game. But yeah, I love getting that one new item that has 10 more attack points, and then I gotta go out and try it, and then I'm halfway through a thing and I'll play it more. And it's just it's everything I wanted, and so I'm very happy with the product. And I mean I'm glad I do this podcast, but man, it's cutting into my Diablo time. Yeah, I would go just to go above Andrew because he hates the game so much and he made up a fake score. I'm gonna say 96.
This is the thing that sucks, is the fact that Andrew was the most negative on this game and still gave it a 95 should just completely discredit everything he just said.
You make it seem like I dumped on this game. These are the few minor complaints I have.
I'm
sorry.
concerned about
I have an opinion.
Emails we're gonna have to field. Just people being like, why does Andrew hate video games now? Is he going to continue doing this podcast? Are you guys okay? It's going to be a mess.
So if you know me, one thing that I hate is I hate slaves to nostalgia. I hate just people that are so nostalgic for something they kind of can't see outside of it. And I have to ask myself now, it's been 15, maybe 16 days since the launch of Diablo at this point. And would I say this is the perfect Diablo game, right? A slave to nostalgia would say no. It was Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is the best Diablo game. I would say this is the perfect Diablo game. I think it is the perfect evolution of what Diablo needs to be. I have some minor gripes of things that I would love in Diablo 2 that I would love to see here, but those are...
that's all roast Aaron. He
are-
has something negative to say.
Those
That's
are so
constructive
minor.
feedback. Thank you, Aaron.
It is constructive
for
feedback.
really just
And I just said
bringing
this
it
is
that
the
way.
perfect Diablo game.
So your score is 100.
No, I said it's the perfect Diablo game. I didn't say it was the perfect game. Okay? This, I mean, obviously you've heard me all podcast long. You know the reasons why I like it. I'm giving it a 96 as well. I'm going to tie it with Keith.
Suck it, Andrew.
I can't believe Andrew's score was so low.
Man, seriously.
Just trashes the game.
Yeah. It's just awful. Just 1 point below you guys. But yeah, if you are playing and you want to join us, we of course made a clan, Game Pass Grab Bag, 4 words. So feel free to join us. We're on quite a bit. Even when this releases, probably still be playing it a bunch. But yeah, if you have any game suggestions, please go to GamePassGrabBag.com. All our links are there. You can reach us any way you want. Tell me that, my constructive criticism is valid and you guys are just being jerks.
Boo.
But yeah, we would love to hear your game suggestions if you want us to check out any other games on Game Pass Grab Bag, or if you want us to check out any games on Game Pass. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird0952. And Keith does have an interesting outro, so Aaron, why don't you go next? Where can people find you?
All right, so if you are mildly amused by the sound of my voice, you can always check me out at the Screen Test Podcast. That is a podcast about really anything on a screen. I say that, but we don't talk video games. We do talk TV shows. We do talk a lot of movies. We do reviews of the most important movies of all time, like Surf Ninjas. We just recently did an episode where we broke down the all-time greatest action heroes currently in movies right now. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at Screen Test Pod. And I, post things on every once in a while, and Keith will retweet it every once in a while, so it's great.
I do. I try to get the word out there on Screen Test. I'm still waiting for my invite, but just Twitter.
One day. We you know what? I think we should set something up here soon. You can
do that Nicolas Cage crossover episode when Nick Cage comes to Dead by Daylight.
Oh, now we're talking.
That's what
because I'm always down for doing another Nick Cage episode. A Nick Cage episode is always a fan favorite.
I don't know if I could think of a greater honor than being able to be part of a classic Nick Cage episode.
It would be great.
It'd be a treasure, a national treasure.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it would be.
Gosh, I hate Andrew so much.
Do you have an outro, Keith, or is that it?
No, that was it.
Your outro is that you wish you were on another podcast?
I mean, basically,
your outro, Keith.
You guys are looking for a third. I'll send you my resume. So, yeah.
Alrighty, then. Thank you all so much for joining us. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye.